Hello, hello. This is Charmaine here, and I'm the registered dietitian that helps people reverse type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance. And today we have Carol here. Hi, Carol.
Hi.
Awesome. Carol is a participant in our Reversing Diabetes system, and I'm super excited to hear more of your story, Carol. So let's start off, as always. What made you reach out to us?
So I saw your post on TikTok, as a lot of people do, and I started following some of your tips and tricks, and they were working. So I started seeing some improvements, and I was applying a lot of those tips and tricks. And then I wasn't getting steady enough results. Like, I'd see them go down, but then my numbers would go back up. And I just thought, I'm just struggling too much with this on my own. And, maybe, being type 2 is just something I'm saddled with for the rest of my life. And, I just might have to deal with that. So then after watching some of the other testimonials, I'm like, other people are getting results with this. Maybe I can get some results. What have I got to lose? So that's what prompted me to reach out to you.
I love that. And now you're on the other side. Now you're in the video making the testimonial. I love that. I love that. And so what would you say is your biggest motivation for you to make these lifestyle changes?
So I am pretty holistic in my eating. I buy organic foods and I eat very healthy and very holistic. And it really bothers me that I have to rely on a drug to keep my numbers in check. So when I listen to people in your program talk about that they're reversing the insulin resistance and you can get off the medication, that was really a big motivation for me. I'm getting older. I don't want to rely on medicine. I want to keep my mobility. I want to stay healthy. So that is really my big motivation.
I love that. I love that. And how has your journey been in trying to reverse your insulin resistance, increasing your insulin sensitivity? How has that been for you?
So the journey, it was hard work at first. I'm not going to lie. It was definitely hard work. And I think what I can say the most is trust the system. The system works. You read a lot about it and you have a lot of, it's very skeptical, but trusting the system, it does work. It is a commitment. It was a commitment on my part. You feel a little bit overwhelmed because you're journaling, you're tracking. The apps make it super easy. The healthy app, the school app, once you get comfortable with those and rely on those, it does get easier. So once you start to get used to the program, it definitely does get easier. People can choose to wear a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor. Some people are prescribed it. I wasn't prescribed it, but I chose to wear it. And I believe it was a phenomenal tool in helping me with those 24/7 readings. It really helped tell you what is triggering it, what you can avoid, what eating certain things can do. That was very helpful for me, was to wear a CGM. After being in the program on the journey, you really realize how whole foods can heal. I think we live in a society where marketing is so tricky because I was buying, low carb, no sugar snacks and doing all that, which are not whole foods, but they're labeled as no carb. And it was really, really doing me a disservice. I'm thinking it's helping, and it really wasn't, because they're not a whole food. Your body still can't break them down properly, and it is still a processed food. Like that was not doing me a service. Healing my cells through whole foods and exercise and things like that, according to your program, has really been a game changer for me.
I love that. I love that you shared about how sometimes it can be confusing with the labels, right? Some things that's natural, healthy, low carb, right? So what do you think helped you decipher, okay, what is actually healthy and what's not so great for your insulin resistance?
So working with the coaches, my coaches, working with them and realizing really you think you're eating healthy and you think you're eating whole foods, but learning about that through their guidance and through their coaching, what really is whole foods. I mean, so many things can be different. You can go, okay, whole grain, get a whole grain. Well, there's a lot of different things with a whole grain. You can eat barley. Barley's great, but there's still hulled barley is different from pearled barley, and it affects your body differently. And there's a lot of things that you don't really know until you start to learn about them. So that was very critical working with coaches.
I love that. I love that. And what would you say are some results that you've been seeing once going through this program? You had your little graduation yesterday. Congratulations.
It went fast. It really did. Like I said, when you first start, you're a bit overwhelmed, but once you get into the routine of things, it really rely on a lot of things. I I feel very motivated now because I'm seeing results. So I had an A1C, I think I was at 9.4 when I first started the program. I'm down to 6.8 and still dropping.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really been through eating the right foods, exercising, getting the movement, pretty much what my coaches have guided me. Another offshoot of that was when I went to my doctor for my appointment. Not only was my A1C down, but everything improved. My cholesterol improved, my triglycerides improved, my whole chart improved. Like, she was pretty amazed because, you don't think it affects everything, but it affects everything.
I love that. I know you mentioned in the chat that your doctor was a little shocked and that she had to swallow her words. Was that correct?
She did. She's a great doctor, and she's working with me because I had been on metformin for so many years. And when I said I was going to try this plant-based program, and I said, but they're flexible. You can do lean meats and chicken and fish if you need to. It's not like you have to eat, just plants. And she, kind of gave me a very medical, like, okay, but we're going to check you here in a little bit, in 3 months. So when I came back in 3 months, she walked in and she was like, well, I've got to swallow my words. I can't believe you did it. You did it. So then it was interesting because most doctors, she asked me, she's like, so what's this program you're on? And she was very curious. And she's like, how are you doing this? And she was very interested in it because I think the medical field is very different from a holistic field, and foods can heal.
I love that. I love that. And how do you feel about these results that you're getting? I think it's phenomenal, but how do you feel?
So excited, because a lot of times on the program, we're all human, right? You go to a birthday party, you want that piece of cake, or you go to, you work all day and you come home and you don't want to get on your bike, a walk or whatever. And when you know you're going to get these results and you see these charted results, it motivates you when you get that. So it becomes part of your routine. And I was talking to my coach about this the other day. I said in the beginning, it was a lot of work to get to that routine.
Right.
But now it is just part of my life. It is a routine. It's not like, there are days, of course, when you don't feel like if you're more tired than other days. But for the most part, it's just part of the routine, and you don't feel good when you don't do it. I crave to go on that bike ride. I crave to eat vegetables at night, which I never did before. I had a sweet tooth and I was not good about that. But now shopping for them and making them and eating them, we've included a whole, because your cooking demonstrations, you pick your cookbook and your cooking demonstrations, and we're trying different recipes and we're shopping differently. And it is just a new chapter in our lives.
I love it.
Paying off.
Yeah. I love that. So of course it's a conscious effort at first, right? But then now it's your way of life. So it became from, okay, I gotta try this, I gotta implement this. Now it's like, okay, I don't want to stray too far away from what I'm doing because I feel good on it. Is that correct?
Yes, you feel good on it. You have more energy. Yeah, it's amazing. All your systems and your body work better, and your skin feels better. And it was interesting because when my sugars were high, and I think I may have talked to you or the coach about this, when my sugars were high, it would affect my eyesight. Like I would feel like maybe not blurry vision, but just different eyesight.
Yeah.
So when my numbers started dropping, the eyesight thing became another issue. And I talked to my coach about it. But when I Googled and did some research, your lens changes. So when your blood glucose drops, your eyes are adjusting again. So that was actually a good sign that you're going through more changes because the sugars aren't affecting your eyes anymore. So they're changing again for the better. So that was another side, track of this. So that was very nice to see.
That's awesome. And I think it's cool because not only did you lower your blood sugar, A1C, and improve your eyesight, but other metrics like cholesterol, blood pressure also improved as well. And I think that's what we're talking about here. It's not one diet for a cholesterol, a diet for blood sugar. It's for everything, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And I didn't realize that was going to be a result. I was just so focused on the sugar numbers. So when that was a result, I'm like, okay, this is great. So yeah, definitely.
I love that. I love that. And what would you say to someone who's on the edge or on the fence about reversing their insulin resistance, about doing this? What would you say to them?
So I was very skeptical at first because you see a lot of things on the internet. You see a lot of programs. Your first questions are, is this legit? Is this going to work? Are they just saying that? that. So I was pretty skeptical at first. I've been to nutritionists in the past locally to help, fight this disease. And I was getting a lot of information, very basic, like, yeah, you need to exercise more. Don't eat donuts for breakfast. Just that general line. And I'm like, there's got to be more to it. There's got to be more to it. So once I joined the program to be able to work with those coaches, there's a ton more to it. It's the marketing that we talked about, that's not good, the whole foods, processes like that. Getting to the root of the problem is just not stopping those sugars. It's fixing your cells and continuing to fix those cells. I always quote this with my coach. She had once said, when your numbers are always good, you kind of think of your cells as a conveyor belt. You go along and they drop off and new ones come on and the old ones drop off. So when you're thinking of that, you're always bettering your blood glucose and bettering their cells, and things are always changing. So once you get into that pattern, you're like a locomotive. You want to keep it going. So,
I love that.
Trusting the system, being patient, that I had to learn. I am not a patient person, and being patient pays off because it doesn't happen overnight, and you have to work at it, and then pretty soon it's becoming easier and easier.
Yeah, I love that. Are you proud of yourself for being able to do this?
I'm so proud of myself because I've been, like I said, I've been type 2 for 11 years. I was diagnosed 11 years ago, and that was just what I thought I was going to have to deal with. And it's clearly reversible, and it's clearly opened my eyes to a whole new game plan in more ways than one. So definitely a believer, if you will.
I love that. I'm so proud of you. I think just hearing you share, I think I put myself in your shoes. I'm like, wow, like I must be so proud of myself for making this change, for, being consistent 6 months. Really now it's your way of life. So I love your story. Yeah. And what would you say are some of your favorite foods that you've discovered?
Oh my gosh, there's been so many. I was never a big soy tofu person, and I use that now in a lot of different varieties, regular tofu or, soy curls, things like that. I'll use that as substitutes for a lot for protein instead of meat. There's some amazing products you can get. There's like plant-based crumbles you can use in tacos and things like that. I have gotten into a lot of different vegetables. I mean, I was a standard buyer of vegetables. Now I have really broadened my horizons. Like okra has become one of my favorites. Like I eat okra probably every day, which I wouldn't have touched before. I keep like glass containers in the fridge, and I wash all my veggies. Meal prepping on the first day of the week or that Sunday helps with the week. I food prep a lot and fresh veggies, and then that way you can grab and go. You're not washing them and doing them, so grabbing and going food prep makes it easy. Yeah, there's I think I've learned how to use spices to my advantage rather than divert to oils or butters or things like that. Now we're flavoring it up. So lots of spices, more things like that.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience before we end this?
I did. I wrote a bunch of notes down. You're probably seeing me looking at notes because I didn't want to forget anything.
No, please share.
I'm just so excited about the program. And like I said, I went in pretty skeptical, and then working. You're real. Your team is real. You guys are very professional and knowledgeable. And without that guidance, it wouldn't be a real program. So it is. And kudos to you guys for helping people like me and many others. I think that you help because we see them on the Q&As, and you're changing people's lives one by one, and kudos to you guys.
Oh, thank you so much. And anything you want to say to Cara and the other coaches?
Oh my gosh, I think I've told Cara a million times, and Valentina, that they are fabulous. They are everything they give you. They have explanations for, or backed by science, or doctor's reports, or podcasts that you can watch. I mean, the information is astounding. You can have 2 questions and you will get back so many resources and so many things that you can research and find out. They're so knowledgeable about that, and patient and kind and fun. They've become like family. So it's nice to be on those Q&As every week. I also like Charmaine in the program. When your graduation, after the 24 weeks and you graduate, you're not just cut loose. You can participate in those Q&As and you feel like you still can get those resources. And that helps because you get a little scared, like, okay, can I do this on my own? But by the time you get to 24 weeks, you got it. Like, you know what to do, you know how to do it. But it's always good to have the recipes and resources and hear other people's journey and things like that. So that's very helpful.
I love that. I love that. Yes. A lot of times I always tell people, really, you're not just our clients, you're our family. So I would not want to let you guys go. If anything, I really make it a point where you'll be able to join our coaching calls for the rest of your life, all the resources you have for the rest of your life, school community, you have it for the rest of your life, because it's, you know, it's not just these 3 to 6 months. It's really a lifelong journey. So I'm excited to see you around, and I'm so proud of you.
It's a fabulous program. Again, you know, you don't think you can do it, but you do, and it works. It really works. If you put in the work, it does pay off, and you get the results, and it's awesome.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Carol, for doing this. I'm so proud of you. I'm sure you're very proud of yourself as well. And please let us know if you need anything. And for those of you who are watching, if you're curious to see what we're talking about insulin resistance, the root cause of diabetes, just make sure you watch the free training. The link is in the description below. And if you want to work with us, join the Reversing Diabetes program like Carol did. You can also book a call with us. Link is also in the description below. But thank you, Carol, so much for doing this. And I'll see everyone soon. Have a good one.